every property owner selling or leasing their property would like to get the highest possible investment or return from their property. However, for this to happen, they need to understand and identify the variable, or rather the factors that determine the value of the property and the transaction for each property. So in this video, we want to look at some of the variables that influence property transactions in any market. So be sure to stay tuned and subscribe and like this video. What are some of the variables that influence property transaction in any market? So, like I said, this video, you want to go through some of the factors that influence any transaction in any market. And on the top of the list is the physical condition of the property. Everyone wants to get value of their hard-earned money. And this means that no one wants to buy or lease a property that is in any way less than their ideal condition. When a property owner decides to place or to list the property in the market, the one thing that they need to ensure is that the property has the unique advantages in terms of the physical condition, and that it will be desirable from the tenants or from the buyers in the market. So it is a risk that any property owner does not want to take. So they need to ensure that their property is in good condition, because this will influence whether the property gets someone to buy or to rent it on time. And then on number two is the price of the property. Any property or properties should be priced in a competitive. Properties should be priced competitively, such that so that they can attract the right buyers or the right tenants. And this explains why you find some of the property in the market for so long, whether they are looking for buyers or for tenants, simply because the property is out of the market, or rather it is out of reach. So property owners need to make sure that the price is right for if it's a buyer or if it's a tenant, so that they ensure that they get the right client at the right time. And then on number three, on the variables that determine the transaction in any property market is the state of the economy. And the state of the economy, we have two states of property market, and one is the seller's market and the buyer's market. So the seller's market is whereby you find that the supply is less than the demand, and in the buyer's market, supply is more than the demand. So basically in the seller's market, it is like the sellers will kind of make the decision on the price of the property and on the condition of the market. And in the buyer's market is buyers decide what to buy because there is a lot of supply in the market. So state of the economy, or rather the state of the property market, determines the transactions that are going to happen in that particular market. And on the point number four is that the political climate of the economy determines the transactions of properties, and that explains why in many economies, when there is an election or when there is some political instabilities, property market tends to also stagnate at the same time, because the market looks unviable. But however, when we have stable economies or stable political climate in any market, there is value and appeal to any properties within those economies, and that explains why cities that have kind of some stable kind of political climate tend to attract a lot of investors, and their properties tend to fetch and give good returns. And on the next point is the geographical climate or the location of the property. If the climate is okay and the location is good, properties tend to trade a lot and they tend to change hands. There's always a demand because investors are assured of their returns, because anyone would want to buy a property there, probably settle there or do business there. Harsh geographical conditions like place which has snow and ice, tend to be shied away from investors. And then another point is the topology of the property. That is basically shape and size of the property. The usable areas of the property greatly determined its scalability and also its pricing. And that explains why we hear of corner property or properties that are at the beach and all that. Just because of the shape and where they are located, they tend to attract and to fetch high market prices. The next point is the neighbors to the property, or rather the neighborhood. And you hear people talking about, I live in this neighborhood, I live in that particular neighbor. So that neighborhood determines both the value of the property and the attractiveness of the property. And it should never be taken for granted, because neighbors determine the working or living conditions of particular areas. And it is from those neighborhoods that reputations are built or they are rather destroyed. The next point is access to the property, and this is a very direct point, because easily accessible properties are conveniently located and therefore more desirable for residencies and working places. They are also easier to keep securely protected than properties that have accessibility challenges. Next point is amenities that come with the properties, and that's where we hear location, 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 meaning that, and that is a common saying in any property circles or in property circles. Desirable amenities include easy access to good hospitals, good schools, shopping malls, commuting to and from work, and many other amenities. And the last point that determines property transaction in any market is the income potential of the property. And this is basically the return on investment for that particular property. Properties that have higher return on investment tend to attract investors very fast, as opposed to properties that have low return on investment. Because anyone who is buying property, they are either looking for a home to stay or for a convenient investment. So these are only some of the more obvious variables that play a crucial role in determining the length of time a property remains in the market. There are other many hidden variables that come into play as well. So all in all, with patience and continuous exposure, all properties eventually find the right buyers or the right tenants. But it's very key for property owners to know and to be aware of the variables that are on top of the list that end up determining the length their properties are going to remain in the market. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope the content is rich enough to give you some insights and to educate you, especially if you are looking to sell your property or to looking for a tenant for your particular rental property. So stay tuned and follow my channel. More and more videos are coming, and probably you want to stick around and learn one or two things in regards to your investment. Be sure to subscribe and share the video with your friends and family.